Well, welcome back, everybody. Dicko, Mole. Before we get into today's episode, huge news coming out of Nostradamus headquarters, along with the Mole. Gripstar Socks have joined the crew as a major sponsor of the podcast moving forward. Australia's leading high performance socks. Look, join Australia's athletes. Some of the caliber of players they've got on board: Brian To'o, Critter, Reece Walsh, The Hammer, Xavier Coates, Ryan Pappenhausen, just to name a few. It's awesome to have them on board, guys, and really looking forward to working with them for the rest of the season.
They've also got Molly's touch footy team, and let me tell you, they make me run like the Hammer.
How good. So Magic Round, done and dusted. Previewing round 10. Let's get straight into it, guys. First game. Geez, it's going to be an interesting one. Battle of the Cellar Dwellers. I can say that with a little bit more confidence this week after last week's performance by Penrith. But the Eels versus the Dolphins, gentlemen. Look, the Eels, I thought they were right against the Sharks. What did you think of that call? Do you reckon they got robbed with that tackle in midair?
I do. What about you, Molly?
Yeah, terrible decision. And you could see it coming. The more times they looked at it, you knew they were going to come up with something stupid, and they did.
Yeah, so the NRL, did the NRL back that decision too? I'm pretty sure they backed the actual bunker on making that decision. I read the next day, so they actually agreed with the bunker. I just don't know what, like, can we get somebody in that situation showing the players and the fans what they actually expect for them to do? Because he was contesting the ball. I don't understand how we get to a point where, okay, his arm might have ended up over his shoulder, but I guarantee you the intent was to contest the ball, and that was it. It's a split-second decision that he's got to make. It's not a penalty.
And Mitchell Moses summed it up perfectly. He went up to the referee and said, "What can my guy do? What do you expect him to do?" And the ref had no answer.
And if it's going to be a penalty, why not the penalty try? Why was that not? Yeah, like this. That's the other baffling decision. I don't understand. Like, penalty
or a sin bin,
or
or a professional foul. Like,
I thought we were going to get through a week without talking about the bunker.
Surely that was a try scoring opportunity.
Well, they rolled the dice and it landed on penalty, so I think that's the only explanation.
Dear oh dear. And what do we make of the Dolphins? Seriously, what's wrong with that side?
They don't play for 80 minutes is what's wrong with the Dolphins.
They started off, I think, 0-4. We were like locking them in for the wooden spoon. Then all of a sudden they go, bang, 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 impressive performances. And, half a game of footy for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're struggling. And, I think their hopes of making the 8 have faded again. And they came in with such a bang. I still remember that first game against the Roosters where they just smashed them. I was absolutely stunned. I thought we're really seeing something special here, but they just haven't been able to go on with it. And they got the talent. It's a great roster. They got speed. They got the Hammer, who's as good as anyone in the game. But yeah, there's something missing.
They can score points, the Dolphins, but they're just fading in and out of games defensively, and when they're fading out, they're leaking a lot of points up very quickly, and they're making it very difficult for themselves to be able to get in the game because they can, as I said, they can score points with the best of them. I mean, they put 40 on Melbourne, so it's just those momentary lapses in concentration that are costing them defensively. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking at their team for this week, and it's probably, I'd probably have to say that's almost without Max Plath. That's their best 17, I reckon. Yeah. So
Jerry Marshall-King out again this week as well.
Yeah, he's missing, and he's a big loss.
Oh, Jeremy Marshall-King's out.
I'll tell you what, this game and the next game, it's not exactly teams that are in form, is it? The next game's the Knights versus the Titans.
Well, the Dolphins have also never won in Sydney.
Yeah, wow.
So I don't believe they've ever won in Sydney. No, I heard on the radio today. So their record at home is great, but in Sydney, they have won away. But actually in Sydney, I don't believe they've won. So that's another
So is that
hurdle they're
you
going to have
locking
to.
in the Eels? Is that what I heard?
Oh, you're killing me here. You always put me on the spot. Always. I
Well,
know,
I
Molly. Who
mean,
you
with
got?
those stats,
Who you got, Molly?
Oh, golden point.
nah,
Again.
surely.
Well, we got one golden point last week. I think we tipped about 6 of them. So we got one right. But yeah, Eels at home.
Eels at
Reluctant.
home.
Oh no, I'm gonna go the Dolphins. I'm gonna go the Dolphins here. I do think they're a better team than Parramatta. It's
Yeah.
just, and if the Dolphins against the Storm turn up, they will win comfortably. But if they have those momentary lapses in concentration, as I said, Parramatta will win. So, I think this week, yeah, I think the Dolphins this week.
Yeah, this is one of those games that Parramatta would have identified as, we really need to get 2 points here.
Mm.
And the Dolphins likewise. I mean, you're right, Dicko. I reckon if they're both full strength playing their best footy, I think the Dolphins win this.
Yep.
But that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yep.
Poor. Yeah, look.
You've got to lock something in, mate.
Give me the Dolphins.
Okay.
Give me
Two
the Dolphins.
one para. Beautiful.
With no confidence at all. Friday night footy. Can't believe it. It's nearly Wednesday already. The footy's nearly back.
How good is it?
Just sensational. The Knights versus the Titans. Well, Trent was very bullish last week, gentlemen, on the Newcastle Knights. And did they deliver? Absolutely. I'm very, very, very bullish again here. The Titans are a joke. What is going on there? Molly, is it the players? Is it the coach?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think the administration's got to take some of the rap, the recruitment, you name it. And the Fafita saga this week, which was just a circus. The place is a mess. I don't think the players are happy. Desi doesn't look happy. I'm sure the board's not happy. So we've got a club in crisis, really.
If there was a favourite to get sacked, would it be Des right now?
Yeah, look, I don't like talking about coaches' favourites to be sacked because, this is these guys' livelihood. If I was Des, I wouldn't want the full confidence of the board in me right now. And I think they did come out and say that last week. So I think Dom Young, funny story, let me just interject. I wrote something a few weeks ago saying he's in danger of being moved on by the Roosters, and his manager rang me up and said, no, they're very happy with him. They told me their things are rosy. And I didn't argue with him, but today the news came out. They've told him he's free to go tomorrow. They'll even pay for the Uber.
The Knights?
I've heard that he's going back to the Knights. Is that a...
Yeah, I think so. And they're that desperate for anyone who can score points. They'll probably take him.
Yeah, right. Okay. This is really interesting because I looked through the Titans team list. And again, we're talking about probably, apart from maybe 2 or 3 players, their best 17 players. Like maybe Kieran Foran, a rampaging David Fafita, if he wants to turn up, and then the fullback Kinney.
Yeah.
Really, so there's probably 15 players.
Jaden Campbell's back, but geez, Keeney, I didn't realise how big of a loss he'd be.
This is what I mean. This is why the Titans are frustrating because, again, you're looking at them on paper and you're thinking, that Titans team at their best, you'd probably back them in a 2-horse race against the Knights.
Is it just me or is Regan Campbell-Gillard being very disappointing?
I think he's been disappointing. But I think they've all been disappointing, mate. I honestly don't think
apart from Tino,
put it on him. Yeah, Tino was outstanding.
Yeah,
we were there live.
Hard.
Yeah, we were there live on the weekend, and he just gets through a mountain of work. And in terms of the Titans as a club, I feel like they're all pulling in different directions. You've got some players that are buying into Des, some aren't potentially.
Looks like a bunch of individuals, doesn't it?
Yeah, some aren't happy with the way he's coaching. Then you got players trying to push culture, and some aren't buying into that. You got other players that want to play on the left as opposed to the right. What happened to the old? You're just happy to get a spot, Molly. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think times have changed, but I think Jaden Campbell will make a difference. I'd rate him as a real superstar, and he's come in at the key halfback position. They will be a better team with him there. They've definitely missed him. He's all class.
Well, how's this?
Yeah.
I read today, and you might know this, Molly, because I think it was on a Channel 9 article, but I read today that the reason why Jackson Hastings isn't in is because his missus is blueing with one of the other teammates' misses.
Yeah, that's been floated. That's one of several theories.
What is happening here? Like, is this rugby league or is this married at first sight? Come on. What is this?
Well, you've got to have a happy camp, don't you? And clearly they're not a happy camp, the Knights. I know the players don't particularly like the coach. I don't know, the coach is shitty with plenty of the players. So, you'll see Dom Young probably end up back there, which just shows you how desperate they are, because his defence this year has been terrible, but he can get across the line. So, he'll add something to their try scoring clout, which has been awful. Like they just can't score points, but he's one guy who can get over the line. So they'll take him back with open arms.
How good's Fletcher Sharp going?
Yeah.
He's a player.
Yeah.
He's a player.
And I've got to give it to O'Brien. I'm not a big fan of his, but that was a real gamble moving him from wing fullback to 5/8, and it's been one of the moves of the season. In a team that struggles to play, he just keeps scoring tries, as he did at Magic Round. He's been great.
Yeah, they played the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs were diabolical, but
yeah, I'm going to lock in the Knights. I'm going to lock in the Knights at home. They haven't played well at home this year. We are now getting into really serious Origin discussion. I really feel
surely that win gives them confidence.
Well, I feel like Kalen Ponga could absolutely tear shreds off the Titans this week if their middle forwards don't turn up.
Yeah.
So Knights for me. Who you got, Mole?
Yeah, I'll take Knights. Not confidently though.
Yeah. Nah, Knights by plenty. Another 20+ point drubbing, I reckon. Des Hasler gone.
Well, he has to be gone if that's the case. But anyway.
Could well be.
All right.
Blockbuster Friday night. Rabbitohs versus the Broncos out at a core stadium with a total of 8,000 people that'll probably show up. The Rabbits are going like bustards now. The injuries are catching up with them, but some really, really nice ins this week. Latrell Mitchell back, Jamie Humphries back. Their best player, Latrell, and the player who's probably played the best this season in Jamie Humphries.
Or Jai Gray,
Yeah. So Jai Gray's on the bench. Bit harsh.
I think he's carrying.
Yeah, I mean, he has been their best player, hasn't he? He's been leading the Dally M's. And when a team that's struggling drops their best player, you sort of think, what the hell's going on here? I personally would have had Latrell at centre and kept Jai Gray. I don't think they can afford the luxury of dropping their form player.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you there. Yeah,
they're struggling big time in their front row. The Rabbits, they just can't do anything there.
Yeah.
And now
to be fair, they do have a lot of injuries. Like they had virtually 13 players out on the weekend. Probably not their best 13, but you're missing 13 players. You're going to struggle, and that's how they played in.
So they've had to move Jai Arrow and Kaloa Matangi to front row.
Well, they dropped Satola.
Yeah, I see that. He's in the reserves. I thought he might have been coming back from an injury. So they dropped him.
Yeah.
He was pretty ordinary last week, I've got to say.
Yeah. Well, talk about ordinary, boys. The Broncos were a basket case. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been waiting to spray them for 3 days because what I witnessed on the weekend, and again, we were there live, that these blokes have all the talent. This is what annoys me, is they have all the talent there. You look at their team. They would match up. Their team matches up with any team in the comp. If not, they're probably on paper better than, I reckon, 16 other teams on paper. But between the years, these blokes think they're world beaters but have done nothing. And it's really starting to frustrate me as a supporter of them and other fans that they continually effectively shit the bed every week. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff they're doing now that they were doing 12 months ago when they sacked the coach. So
I reckon,
I don't understand what's going on.
and to his credit, he took a fair bit of the blame after the game. Maguire, I think he got the lineup wrong last week.
And there was also no secret that Reynolds, didn't have his greatest game. Let's face it. His kicking game, 2 out on the full. You just can't turn over, whether it's against Penrith or, the Brisbane Tigers. You can't turn over cheap possession. And especially when you've got Nathan Cleary kicking 40-20s down the other end. So, yeah, he didn't have his best game, and he's been probably their best player all year, but he has had 2 really poor games in the last 3 weeks, Reynolds. It's almost
I reckon
time.
this game's closer than you think.
Oh, this won't be a lay down in the Zaire. I'll tip Brisbane, but with zero confidence at all. They'll bounce back. I've got confidence that they'll bounce back and they'll come out firing. I do like the lineup, apart from
Wayne Bennett against the Broncos, though, is always exciting.
he loves it. Yeah, I like the lineup apart from one in Fletcher Baker. I would love them to give Ben Takura a go. I really feel like he's would add something, even if he can only punch out 25 minutes. Surely you can add something. He's 120 kilos, for God's sake. Because they're missing, Molly, I don't know whether you know this, but a mate of mine during the game sent me a message. 25 minutes in, Kobe Hetherington was subbed out of the game as a lock forward with 0 hit-ups.
Whoops.
Okay, and at the same point of time, Paddy Carrigan and Payne Haas had 28 combined. So if
is that a game plan?
No. If that's not just showing your one wood to other teams, effectively, if you stop Carrigan and Haas, you're going to stop the Broncos because no one else runs the footy. You know what I mean? Like, these guys...
It is almost like outside back, Payne Haas, outside back, Carrigan.
And it's so predictable, mate. They've really got to add an element to their game. I was talking to you about it at Magic Round, Dizz, and they've got to add the 23 grand final that year. I think the offloading, they're averaging like 10 to 11 offloads a game. I know Thomas Flegler was in the front row. He's a renowned offloader, but, they've just gone away from that. It's very predictable attack now. Do you agree,
Well, Reece
Molly?
Walsh he's the X factor, isn't he? And he's missing.
He is.
So maybe that's a problem. But then he wasn't playing all that well anyway. So it's a real dilemma. And the critics say that they're flat track bullies, the Broncos. And if they come out and put 30-40 on South, which I reckon there's a good chance they will, it'll only add to that. And then they'll come out and play a good team the next week and struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, as I said, I'm going to tip the Broncos, but I don't have a lot of confidence. They don't play Sydney well. They don't play this ground well. Again, they're used to playing in front of a big crowd. I don't think the smaller crowd helps them. I know it'd be very hard for a player to get up knowing you're going from, 50,000 to 8,000. But, they've been hammered this week in the media in Brisbane, absolutely hammered. There's been 2 and 3 articles every day about how poor they're going. And, Ezra Mam's available for selection. He's been left out. He's going to play in the Q Cup this week.
I tell you what, I'd like to be sitting in 5th spot.
Yes. That's
for
the
how
thing.
bad they're going.
Well, that's the thing.
That's how tight the comp is, but
the problem is, mate, 9th is also on the same amount of points.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can't really afford a string of losses in a row. So as I said, lock me in for the Broncos with not a lot of confidence.
And Mola, you reckon they might put 30-40 on them?
Yeah, I think so. With all South's injuries, and they're just struggling all over the park. And the Broncos, the bounce back factor, the flat track bully factor, I think they'll win and win well.
Yeah, look, I'll say Broncos, but geez, I can see Wayne Bennett just doing this.
Just
terrible game plan.
Move on to the next game, please.
2-point victory for the Rabbitohs. I can just feel it, but I'm not going to lock in the Broncos.
Move on to the next game.
Yeah, what a game though. What a game.
Yes.
Raiders versus the Dogs. Few dubious calls in the Raiders Storm game, but credit where credit's due. The Raiders just keep winning, and I had them in my bottom 4. Like, And
Yeah, I thought they'd struggle. I had them right down there as well.
Mate, they were
Certainly
so
didn't think they'd play finals footy, and
they,
right now they're looking good things for top four.
they were
yeah, they
so impressive
actually
live,
are
eh?
good. They're actually good though. Like it's not like they've played some average opposition and scraped some results. Like they've beaten the Bronx, they've beaten the Storm. They're now if they beat the Bulldogs, they're premiership favourites.
They were so impressive live the other night. I was just in awe of the Canberra defense. Like they're just you can tell when one team is just buying into a philosophy from a coach, and this is exactly what Ricky is extracting every ounce of talent out of each one of these players. Like KO Weeks, like he's almost come from the clouds, and he's turned in. He's probably the second best form fullback in the comp behind Tedesco, I'd say.
He could make the starting lineup at Manly.
That's what I mean. Like the try he scored, the chip and chase on Pappenhausen, to have the audacity to do it in the wet, and then the regather and score, shows how much confidence he's got, how much confidence the coach has in him. And you go through them. Timoko, the Tamale on the wing. Sebastian Chris is playing his best
Chris
footy.
keeps scoring tries.
Keeps
Yeah,
scoring
Nicholson
tries.
from England is like his offload to Weeks was
yeah.
unbelievable.
He's getting better every game, Matty Nicholson.
He
Oh,
is,
Big
he is.
Big Red. Big Red had a meeting with the West Tigers and the Broncos at the end of last season. Now he's almost their second best forward, third best forward behind Hudson Young and Tarpany.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah. Tom
it's just,
Starling, they were going to get rid of. They virtually told him, see you later. Today he signed a 2-year deal because he's playing so well.
Oh, did he sign a 2-year deal today? I missed that. Yeah, okay.
Here's a scoop for you.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah, just on the weekend, I want your opinion. You said a couple of dubious decisions. Now, I think you're referring to the Golden Point penalty, which, yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. But the one where Pappenhausen kicked the field goal. Did you watch this game, Molly?
Yeah, I did. I watched them all.
So when he kicked the field goal, and then they went back and they penalised Utai Kamano for the elbow to Tarpany's head, or was it the arrow to the elbow to his head? Are we happy with that? I personally am happy they penalised that. What do you think?
It was definitely worth a penalty, but when we get the bunker going back, it's always a grey area, isn't it? Because sometimes it goes back and they just say on report.
Yeah.
Other times they do this. Other times they sin bin. So we're not getting the consistency we want, and Storm fans have a right to be dirty.
So I'm happy with the penalty for the elbow to the face and whatever that. Like I can live with that. I don't like the pushing down of the face in the ruck. I think that's a bit petty and it looks ordinary for the game. But I didn't actually realise they could go back and take the field goal off them. I thought they would just penalise them or put him on report and keep the field goal. Like I don't actually know they could actually take points off them. Did you know?
Well, that's
did any of you
why.
guys know that?
The reason is because it happens so rarely, and that's what I'm saying. I've seen at least 4 or 5 times this season someone scored a try or whatever, and then they say, "Oh, this bloke's on report for something that happened 2 minutes ago that the bunker saw." So again, when do you penalise? When do you not? It's crazy.
And in Golden Point, are we happy that that's a penalty? Are we happy that decides the game?
The head high?
The head high, yeah.
Well, it was a penalty, so yeah.
Was it?
But again, it was a penalty, but it wasn't vicious. It wasn't malicious. The guy was basically falling into the tackle. I did feel sorry.
It sucks that it decided.
Yeah.
What I did like,
if that decides a granny, are we happy with that?
Well, it wouldn't be a great way to finish a grand final, but it would just be.
Are we at the point now where we're just going to have to live with that as a penalty? Yeah. I think we are. I think we're at the point now we're just going to have to live with that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I thought it was soft. I thought it was on the softer end of a penalty. Personally, I thought it was very weak.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he blew it, but I actually got to give him credit. He actually did blow it, and he followed through with the rule. So
I mean, it could go the other way, right? Like, imagine if it wasn't given a penalty,
and then Melbourne run to the other end,
and
win the game. Yeah, so you got to give him kudos. But
geez, Ricky would have been up with more fines. That's for sure.
yeah, but I just I think we're just going to have to accept now that that's the normal.
Yeah.
Any sort of tap around the face, and it's going to be a penalty.
Kudos to Bellamy and Munster in the press conference as well. I don't know if you guys watched that. They were, I wouldn't call it deflecting, but they were very strung up on the fact that their team needs to be better from a discipline perspective. And I don't know if you saw on the cameras post game, but Bellamy had Liero and Utakamanu in the sheds, absolutely spraying them.
Yes, I actually took some vision of that. I stole it and put it on my Facebook because it was priceless. And
I thought they were going to cry.
Yeah, you can bet he gave him the rounds of the kitchen, Craig. He doesn't miss. And the Storm have got this phenomenal record, don't they? I think it's 16 games in a row now where they've lost and they've won the next week.
Well, I tell you what, I feel sorry for the Tigers this week. Yeah, yes. Very much so. So who are we locking in, more importantly, for this game? Canberra or the Dogs? I didn't think the Dogs were that good, but as we said before, the Titans were garbage. So are the Dogs...
I don't know. What worries me in this game is I like Canberra at home. I like the Arvo slot for them. If it's a dry track, I think they're a good dry weather team. But it was a tough game against Melbourne. It was physical and it was tough, and it was Sunday night. It's a relatively... I know the Bulldogs played on the same day, but their game was mostly in the dry conditions. I think it might have rained maybe for 5 minutes during that game. So the fatigue worries me a little bit. The Raiders might come out a bit flat, but I don't know. They're at home. They're very hard to beat at home. I'm going to tip the Raiders.
What do you reckon, Molly?
Well, I'm going the Raiders, and I'll tell you why. Because of tonight's judiciary. I think Jacob Preston's been the Bulldogs' best forward. They're going to be without him for a month now, so it's going to be a real struggle. And Canberra's got so much firepower in the forwards with the guys we mentioned before, Horsburgh, Hudson Young, these guys. I think they might run over the top of them. So, Raiders at home.
Jeez, he's unlucky, Preston. 4 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah,
God.
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I'm going to come out and say it. I've been beaten around the bush a little bit, but the Dogs aren't that good.
They're leading the comp, you fool.
They're not that good, seriously. They've beaten the Dragons, the Titans, the Eels. Fair play to them against the Sharks. They played well against the Sharks, right? Then they beat the Knights, bastards. Rabbitohs, bastards. Broncos smashed them. And then they beat the Titans again, who were bastards. Like, the Raiders will win this.
Jeez, they've had a fairly soft draw when you think about it, haven't they?
The Raiders will win this, and they'll win this very, very well. But have a look at the draw after this. Like, I don't know how much they slipped the NRL here, but they play the the Roosters, then the Dolphins, then the Eels, then the Rabbits.
Who? The Raiders?
No, the Dogs. After that opening draw.
Seriously. No wonder they're leading the comp.
And then they're in a bit of strife. Panthers, Broncos, Cowboys up in North Queensland. But, honestly, their draw to finish the season, Storm, Panthers, Sharks. So
tough.
They'll have enough points in the bank by then to be.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they'll be top 8.
Probably
for sure.
top 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a bit of a prediction here. The Bulldogs to miss the 8. There you go. There you go. Heard it here first. Raiders by plenty. All right, Dragons versus Warriors.
Is he drinking Molly while he's doing this, or what?
HIA, I think.
Dragons versus Warriors, guys.
Jeez, the Warriors. What is happening?
How good is it? How good is it though for the Warriors? Like, honestly,
what is happening?
They haven't been playing that good a footy. They're coming third. Every single game they play seems to be, 4 to 6 points difference. They're a little bit like the Dolphins, but they're actually winning.
They almost don't know how to lose at the moment, the Warriors.
Yeah.
Luke Metcalf's just on fire. He's leading them around the park, scoring tries, doing everything.
How about Chanel Harris-Tavita? I mean, Tamare Martin and Luke Metcalf looked like they were going to be, certainties to start in the halves. And then Chanel Harris-Tafita got put in round 1,
Mm.
and he's been sensational defensively. And that left edge is absolutely humming.
Mm.
They haven't even missed Tuivasa-Sheck and
Well,
Dallin Tanese-Lesniak.
Tuivasa-Sheck is on the reserves list, so
Yeah, and
he might be a late
Dallin's
in.
coming back as well. So
Yeah,
I've been
Dallin's in.
told that both will probably play, both a big chance of playing. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's going to add
Yeah,
to
well,
their
that's
strike
huge.
power even more.
Yeah, that's right. Are we disappointed with the Dragons? Like, are we with all the recruiting and the change of coach? Are we a little sort of perplexed at where they are,
Seriously,
or
they
have we
are
seen this coming?
rubbish.
Have we seen this coming?
No, they're that they are absolute garbage. Like trying to watch them play is
They do some
I-
dumb things, don't they? They're not a smart team. You got to.
What about Jaden Sewer's drop ball? We got to mention it.
Oh yes. Yeah.
It's
And that was the ball game, really. I mean,
Yeah, it
if
was.
he holds that
Yeah.
ball, it's a 12-point turnaround. I've
well,
never
this is
never
what's
seen a clearer one.
disappointing, right? Like the Dragons beat Manly at Brookie, I think.
Mhm.
Oh no, I think it was at Wynn Stadium. But regardless, Manly are a good side, right? They're capable of so much more, and yeah, it's really like if I'm a Dragons fan, like you'd be ripping your hair out.
I've been thinking about this for a few weeks, and I want your opinion, both of you, on this. Are the Dragons, from what I've seen from the Dragons, are they a better team with Jacob Little as the 9 as opposed to Damien Cook?
Yes,
That is a very good question. He scored 2 tries last week, Little. He's been one of their best. And Damien Cook, fine player. He was all right last week too. But when they win, Little usually comes off the bench and lifts them.
yeah.
And I'll be surprised if Little's there next year because he's a starting number 9.
I think so too, Molly. Like he must be licking his lips. Put together a few more games of good footy, and with a new franchise coming in, it's. I know if I was a part of the Bears, I'd be looking. If you can't get a big number 9, I have no problems in Jacob Little being my number 9 for I mean, the Knights even. I mean, he could do worse going to play at the Knights, I just think they're a better team, the Dragons. They play more, they play quicker, and he loves to run the footy. And Damien Cook, he's almost like Damien Cook was when Damien Cook was younger. He used to love the run the footy a lot. But yeah, Cook's just turned into a little bit of just a stand and pass type dummy half. He's not challenging. I'm critical of the Broncos as well because I think they're the same. The dummy halves have got to challenge the markers and the A defender. And if they don't challenge them, you are just sitting ducks for the defensive line. And I really think Little does that with his running game. And I think Flanagan's really going to have to sort of sit down and have a hard think about potentially sitting Damien on the bench or leave him out of the 17.
But don't know where they go though. Like apart from that change, like they're full strength pretty much. And in the game against the Tigers, they had 12 line breaks to 2 and lost. They had 42 tackle breaks to 16 and lost.
Mate, I can't explain that to you. I can't.
How do you? How?
I don't know. I can't. I got nothing.
Um,
It's summed up in the Jaden Sewer no try. There you go. That's what I got for you.
Yeah,
pretty much summed up in that.
You know what it is? They beat Melbourne Storm and then lost to Parramatta.
Mate, Brisbane beat the Bulldogs and lost to the Panthers. You know?
Well, there you go.
It's that sort of comp, guys. We're going to have to
is.
get used to it.
It's just. I mean, it's good. It's good for the neutral viewers, but yeah. Anyways, so who are we locking in? Dragons or Warriors? Because that's the big question here.
This is at Wynn Stadium. The Dragons have got a good record at Wynn, don't they? They play well there, don't they? Do they prefer playing there to their other home ground?
I think they do because it's a more pro Dragons crowd. You don't get rival fans travelling down the Wollongong. I almost died on that road once. I hate that road. And I think everyone else feels the same.
Yeah.
I think they're a 12-point better side at Wynn. There you go. And I think a lot of it is to do with the referees because it's a small ground. They can hear the crowd. They get intimidated. They give 6 agains. They give penalties. They're a better side. And always a danger at win. But having said that, Warriors.
I just,
I'm going the Dragons.
yeah, no, I mean, no, I can't. I can't tip past the Warriors at the moment. Like I can't not tip them. They're just. I've tipped against them a few times and they've bit me in the butt. So I'm going to tip the Warriors this week. I really feel like, yeah, they just don't know how to lose at the moment.
Cowboys, Panthers, in North Queensland, both coming off. Well, Panthers obviously coming off a good result. Cowboys, I don't really know what to make of them at the moment. They're definitely better than what they were. And we know that Penrith aren't going that good either. But
So,
Brian
yeah.
To'o is back.
This game tells a story, I reckon. There's a story in this.
And
in
Reuben
terms
Cotter
of-
is out.
Yeah. In terms of, are Penrith back? I think is the question. Because if Penrith are back, they go to Townsville and they win. And they win well here. And if the Cowboys are what we think they could be, they need to win this game.
This is the strongest side Penrith have put out on the park all year.
I didn't think Penrith. I know everyone is very quick to, and again, I know I'm supporting the Broncos, but I sat there and I didn't think they did anything like, oh my God, this team's the best team I've seen in the last 5 years. There wasn't any of that to it. It was more the other team capitulated and they just took advantage of possession and errors, is what I thought. I didn't. You even said this. You even said that
It wasn't a case of. Well, let's bear in mind that Nathan Cleary played and took the piss, right?
See, look, I must have been watching a different game. Again, he kicked a 40-20, he set up a couple of tries, but apart from that,
and scored one.
Yeah, and scored. That's what I said. Set up, scored a couple of tries, but again, apart from that, like it wasn't. I wouldn't have gone. Oh, geez, how good. I thought it was a good team performance from Penrith.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this tells the story here in terms of are they back or is that just did they win last week off the back of a team's awful performance or are they really back,
Well, they did it against the Roosters 3 weeks ago and then came out and lost. So, yeah, you're right. But Brian To'o is back. Mitch Kenny is back.
Uh-huh.
So that's huge. That's massive for Penrith. I would be shocked if we lose this game.
Oh, geez.
What do you reckon, Molly?
Cleary's got a real presence to him. Like you're right in what you say. It was probably talked up as a masterclass and all that, and it probably wasn't that. But just the fact he was there and did all the little things right and scared the bejesus out of the defence. They hesitated. He took advantage. He's just all class, and he gives the players around him confidence. And with all that in mind, I'm going Panthers.
Oh, I'm going the Cowboys. I reckon the Cowboys will win this. I really liked the Cowboys' second half against the Tigers. I know they didn't get over the line, but they should have. I thought they had plenty of opportunities there to score right at the end. And I think a dry track. And I think their forwards, they're one of the bigger forward packs. And I think they'll take this challenge head on. And I think the Cowboys will win.
You're kidding yourself.
How's this bloke? Dead set 72 hours ago, he told us Penrith are the worst team ever. Now they're going to win the comp. Seriously.
No, honestly, Brian To'o coming back is huge. I think you'll notice like just the yardage carries and field position.
Yeah,
like
get him out of trouble.
He's a 250 meter plus player a game. It's like taking Payne Ass out of the Broncos. It's huge. But we'll see.
Again, don't forget, we got Origin selection and players now are going to be doubling down on form. I feel Magic rounds out of the way. A lot of players now will start really stepping up into trying to get themselves into. There's a lot of players in that Cowboys team that could find themselves in a maroon jumper. And there's a couple of guys in this Penrith side that probably 2 weeks ago.
Well, Penrith have got the bye next week as well, so this is their last opportunity.
Yeah, and 2 weeks ago, a lot of people didn't want some of these guys in the New South Wales team. So, a lot to play for in this one.
Storm versus Tigers. Molly, you said it before.
I think this is an easy one, Molly. What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, Storm by plenty.
Do you guys think that the West Tigers, I wouldn't say they've been lucky, but I'm happy that they're sitting where they are on the ladder. But if I'm a Tigers fan, I'm not getting too excited about. They're obviously heading in the right direction, but I just don't think they're going as well as where they're sitting on the ladder.
Well, the good news for them is they've overcome the Galvin hurdle, which could have scuttled their whole season. They've got back-to-back wins with him in the team. Him and Luai, they've made it clear they're not mates, but they're getting on with business and getting it done. And a big chance for the 8, which is such a massive improvement on 3 wooden spoons. So if I'm a Tigers fan, I'm happy with the way things are going. You've got Buller, who's just an absolute freak.
Buller's been fantastic.
Yeah, and the forwards are going well. Appy's doing a great job. Talon De Silva, I think they'll struggle to keep him because it's very hard to keep 2 world-class hookers, and this kid will be a world-class hooker. But, things are looking rosy compared to the last few years.
Yeah, I think the Tigers are going well. I kind of disagree with you a little bit, Diz. I think they are going as well as where they are. Like, they're hanging in games and they're playing tough. And, I know it's not as flary as, a Bulldogs or a, Raiders at the moment, but they're hanging in and winning. And that's something that for the last, 4 or 5 years, they haven't been able to do. They haven't even been able to hang in games for half a game. So, you've got to give them credit in terms of that. Like, they're learning again to win games of footy on the fly here. And I think it's a real credit, as Molly said, to them, to the players and to Benji. Like, the Galvin situation again, it was. I think we mentioned it last week. At some point in time, you got to put the big boy pants on, put the things to the side, and go out there and play footy because you're paid to do it, right?
Maybe Benji should give Adam O'Brien a call.
But no, I don't think they'll win against Melbourne. I must admit, but
this will be a test to see where they're at. Are they a potential top 8 side, or are they just improving?
Oh yeah, see, I'd go a little step below that. I'd go, are they a potential going to be a good team as opposed to worrying about the 8? They need to go down to Melbourne and put in a good performance. And whether that's they get beaten by 24, as long as we can sit back here next week and say, you know what, the Tigers had a red hot dip and Melbourne just ran away with it at the end, I think that's almost a win for the Tigers. Because this is a tough place to play in Melbourne against a team that they will get hammered this week by the coach. And I can tell you that they won't be ill-disciplined like they were last week.
So lock in the Storm.
Lock in the Storm.
Yeah.
This next game, I can't pick it. Sea Eagles versus the Sharks to finish off round 10. It's at 4 Pines. Look, a few changes. Jason Saab's back for Manly, and Jake Trbojevic is back as well. Talakai is obviously out. How weird was that knockout in that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, very strange.
That was bizarre. I should laugh, but geez, it was weird.
Will Kennedy, he is going great guns.
Will Kennedy, unassailable lead in the Dally M.
He is. Yeah, he's.
I spoke to Britton Nikora today, guys, who's also just playing the house down. Doesn't he run a great line? Like he just does, mate. He's good for a try every week.
And he's not even that big for a second row.
And I spoke to him about Will Kennedy, and he said to me, we always knew he had the talent, and now he's just showing it week after week. And, the coach is letting him do what he wants, giving him a free rein. And isn't he making the most of it? He's deservedly leading the Dally M's, and we've got some bloody good fullbacks in this comp. So, it's a real testament to him that he's out there.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see how Turbo goes this week because when he came back from injury, not last week, the week before, he looked still a bit injured. I don't know if you guys agree there.
Yeah, definitely. I think a little bit gun shy.
Do you think he'll make the Blues team?
If he's playing, yes, they would be mad not to pick him.
Yeah, I think they'll pick him, but he's got to get through the next 2 weeks, and with Turbo, that's always an if.
They would be mad not to pick him. Although it is a good matchup, him v the Hammer, which is what it'll be. It's a great matchup. I really think the Hammer worries Trbojevic with his speed. The Hammer would worry anyone with his speed.
Worries anyone, exactly.
Yeah, and I just think that that matchup is almost even. Like it's not one way to the other. Like you'd think, Turbo would have it over the Hammer, but yeah, I like the Hammer's speed in terms of that because Trbojevic's hamstring could go at any point in time. But yeah, this game I don't know. I'm a bit like you, Diz. I wasn't impressed at all by the Sharks when we were watching them the other night.
And the Seagulls obviously coming off a bye, and teams haven't really been coming off byes that well this year.
Yeah, but they are at home, and this again, it's this. I've actually never been to Four Pines Park or Brook
Molly
Farm.
knows this better than anyone. The people in the Northern Beaches love staying in the Northern Beaches, and
Yes,
the people in the Shire.
So what's it like,
equally
Molly?
the same.
What's Brookie like on a Sunday arvo at 4:00?
It's probably less intimidating than a nighttime game for an opposition.
Really?
But
Okay.
it's similar to a Wollongong in a way. It's a small, boutique type ground. Again, the fans are very close to the referee, which is worth points to the home team. For that reason, I'm going Manly. If it was down at Cronulla, I'd go the Sharks for the same reason.
Yeah, this comp is just so hard to pick, isn't it? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to sit here and come up with a tip. You're kidding. I'm going to go Manly. I must admit, I think the bye came at a really good time for them after the DCE stuff. I think what they would have done is, I reckon Seabold said, you know what, guys, for the next 3 days, I want you to get it. I want you to go. I don't want you to see each other. I want you to just get out of the club and go and clear your head. Come back in. Let's forget about what's happened for the first, 8, 9 weeks, and let's reset. And I think they'll be invested. And they're at home, and they're always tough to play. So and it's a Sunday arvo. Like I reckon Manly will win. But I'm gonna take a leaf out of the Moley book. I'm going to the Golden Point.
I reckon if the Seagulls are at their best and the Sharks are at their best, I think the Seagulls win this.
Yeah,
I think the Seagulls' best is better than the Sharks at their best. And for that reason, I'll lock in the Seagulls by 1. In normal time. In normal time.
Yeah, right.
In normal time. Well, guys, it's been great. Fair bit of opposing opinions on today's episode, which we love.
Oh, he's dropped out. Thanks